Yeah.
But, and then in a year's time, this all wipes from his debt to income ratio. Under what's called, I don't want to fire hose you with information, but it's called the debts paid by others under Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But after 12 months of non-delinquent, meaning on time, no missed payments, a lender's required to wipe the debt from the income ratio if someone else is paying the mortgage, meaning like a renter or me.
That is such sexy verbiage. Like, wow, I did not know that.
Isn't that wild?
I did not know that.
Hey guys, in this video you're going to see a follow-up call that was scheduled for me on a property out in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this was called originally 3 days prior at one of my Power Hour meetings here in Scottsdale, Arizona, where she set me up for success by going through all 4 pillars that I always talk about. And so when I got on the phone, all I had to do was overcome the higher objections that they had was in relating to their VA entitlements, as well as debt to income, so that seller can go on and purchase another home using their entitlements and not have any issues with their debt to income. And so this is how you navigate those phone conversations and overcome those objections. So this agent can present these to her seller that shows exactly how they benefit and how I benefit. That will lead us to a 3-way phone call with both the seller and the agent and myself. If you like the video, please hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up for me. It really helps with the algorithms. I'm not sure how they work, but thank you so much. Here we go.
Is this she? Can I ask a something?
My name is Landon. I was told to call you at noon today.
Hi, Landon. Are we talking about buyer's presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you doing?
I'm really good.
How's the weather up there right now?
It's actually completely out of the ordinary for Las Vegas.
Oh, really?
It is very warmish throughout the day, but it's overcasted, so it's actually kind of like cold. So it's weird. We have like these really warm moments, and then it gets super cold instantly. So it's fun.
That's better than us down here. I'm down here in Phoenix, and I feel like it just never cools down.
It never cools down? Oh gosh.
I know.
You know what? I think I would take this than that because being in March and it's sweating, I don't know about that.
I know. We just booked an Airbnb over the summer up in Oregon where we're from, and just to get out of the heat, just exactly that.
Gorgeous out here. Oregon is gorgeous.
Yeah, super cool. So
talk to me. So you guys are on the team, like this investor team. You said you're in Phoenix. I had spoken to Andrea.
Yep.
She's in Texas.
No, she's in Utah.
She's in Utah.
She is.
Who's from Texas? Your company's a company from Texas?
No, we've done deals. We have 3 in escrow right now in Texas, but none of us are in there, Texas.
Someone called me from Texas, and I was like, oh.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what?
No, I mean, we have. So I'm the owner of the company. We have 7 team members. And I host a local meetup here in Phoenix, Arizona. I call it the Power Hour, and we come in and do deals together. And Andrea, she's actually not even on my team, but her and I have done multiple deals. We own property together. She flew in for a women's real estate conference down here in Phoenix and came by the Power Hour, and she called you. And I provided her this lead because I wanted her to call it because it's a freaking cutie. And then so she called you and then teed it up for for Houston, but Houston's in Ohio for a real estate conference right now as well too. So you get stuck with boring me.
It's okay, Landon. That's what I like to hear.
So yeah, it's all good.
So what do you guys, investors buying up cute little properties and renting them out?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so like we own, my wife and I own quite a few short-term rentals in Montana, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and then a bunch of long-term rentals too. It just depends on, I mean, as you know, like some properties are fit and perfect for a short-term rental and some aren't. Some are fit for a long-term rental and some aren't. So it's just dependent upon really the area. Like this one I see has a $120 a month HOA, so they likely don't like short-term rentals. And so, exactly. So we probably won't use that exit strategy, but we have like 6 or 7 different exit strategies we use, including we have a relationship with Southwest Airlines for pilots. If their flights get delayed, they have a place to stay, and we do insurance rentals and stuff. So we have some really cool little things that we're doing. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely something I'm passionate about, is obviously buying real estate. That's fun, but then Genuinely, this sounds
definitely creating different avenues for individuals, not just, very, very niche and broad market of being a very short-term or long-term rentals. You're creating very cool avenues for properties like that. Where the Southwest Airlines, thing and insurance rental. That's genius.
Well, it's interesting for sure. I mean, what's one thing that's nice is it diversifies our exit strategies because, I mean, sometimes short-term rentals are slow, right? This summer in Vegas, just like in Arizona, is dead. But, for us, we'll rent out our homes for 3 to 6 months at a time over the summer to just at least weather the storm, if you will. And we have exits. So exactly that. That's what we're doing.
Right.
And, it's kind of fun.
I like that. I like what I'm hearing. And so talk to me, what got your guys' interest as far as the house goes? I know that Andrea did a little bit of numbers with some of the numbers that I gave her. And to be completely honest, I'm kind of a little bit confused how this is working, because I did note that on the end of the paperwork, it said that the seller is keeping their name on the loan.
Okay, so there's multiple ways you can call this type of transaction, and we are purchasing right now between 3 to 5 homes a month using this style of transaction. It's known in the real estate world as a mirror wrap, MIRROR, mirror wrap. And back in the 80s and 90s, they called it a wraparound mortgage. The new TikTokers are calling it like sub 2 or subject to. But basically what's happening is an informal assumption. And so at the close of escrow, we run everything through title and escrow. They'll run a title report. They'll run personal identity search and all that kind of fun stuff that they do behind the computer screens. And then there's no appraisals, there's no financing contingencies, and we can close these in 3 to 4 weeks. Our quickest one we did most recently was a foreclosure. We closed in 2 weeks. And being an informal assumption, the property at close of escrow will deed over to our entity, our LLC, and the mortgage will just remain in place. And what my attorney will do is draft up and notarize with your sellers and me a formalized all-inclusive deed of trust. That may sound like a bunch of fun Webster's dictionary words, but formally what that's really is it's formally obligating me to the debt and making those payments every month, and protects your sellers in the long term once we close escrow and move on. If I become a knucklehead and miss payments, which I don't do, number one, but then if I were ever to, they're protected with that document to take the property back over, no questions asked.
So being that these individuals are military professionals, one being a psychiatrist and the other one being a teacher, I don't really know that she's in the military, but she's married to him, so they travel.
That's cool.
I know that their main concern is having the VA eligibility carry on for them to be able to use. Can you walk me through the process and how that works for them, being that you are making a deed of trust and keeping the debt? It is technically in his name, but it's a deed of trust for you and taking over the debt. How would that work before their VA eligibility?
So you're talking about the VA entitlements for their next purchase.
Absolutely.
So let me pull up here just for the sake of conversation. I can give you precise numbers because I just purchased a home up in, do you know where Kalispell, Montana is?
I don't know exactly, but
That's
I know.
Fine. It's Glacier National Park area. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, I do know.
But so I own a short-term rental. I can text it over to you for you to look at. But that was I bought it in August of last year and kept it as a short-term rental for my wife and I. And it is a VA loan, 2.5% interest rate, which is bonkers and amazing. And that was a gentleman who had VA entitlements. And him and his wife moved down here to Surprise, Arizona, and wanted to recapture their entitlements to be able to make their next acquisition down here. And so really what it is it's dependent upon the original loan amount when they purchased the home. So I'm seeing here on July 7th, 2021, or July 13th, 2021, they purchased it with a loan amount of $526,000. So they have what is called second tier VA entitlements. Have you heard of those?
Yes, but I don't really know the breakdown of how they carry on as opposed to like a first tier.
Okay, yeah. So every veteran is given a certain level of entitlements based upon a couple of different factors. Number one is where they're purchasing their home. And so they're 98% of the country is based upon the conforming loan limit of the county that they're purchasing in. And so that would be your typical FHA conforming loan limit. So I think Vegas is just their standard conforming loan limit, whereas like a city like Seattle or Washington, D.C. or San Francisco has a much higher conforming loan limit because all the homes are freaking $1 million and more over there. And so every VA has more entitlements in those counties and jurisdictions. And so how it's going to work basically is, if I guess, do you know where they're going to purchase their next home roughly? And I can give you a...
I don't, but
That's
I will
fine.
know tomorrow evening.
Yeah, that's fine.
What's today?
Today's the 12th. It's Tuesday the 12th.
So I will see them Thursday evening. I have a meeting with them Thursday
That's
evening,
fine.
so that is when exactly I know where they're moving to. This is not my listing. I am all just open housing, but my listing agent is actually completely like on a vacay on a cruise ship. And
Good for them.
I know, good for them. It's amazing. Actually, it's very overdue. He's an individual that has struggled, especially last year, not only financially, but health-wise.
Oh, no.
He had cancer, and he strung through, and he overcame cancer and chemo, so this is very much well worth it for him, and I'm just trying to help him out and make sure that we do the best steps for his client.
Exactly.
And I know that their giant concern was their eligibility to be able to take it with them, and so they, to my knowledge, are prepared to walk away with nothing as long as they can take their eligibility with them.
So, and I appreciate you sharing all of that, because that's, and I know this sounds car salesy, and I promise you I'm not, is that I operate in full transparency. If I'm a square peg for a round hole and I'm not the best fit for these sellers in this property, then I'm going to be the first to share that with you and say, hey, listen, this sale wouldn't make sense for your sellers given their circumstance at this time. Now, obviously, as you know, a month down the road into their mortgage payment, they have to move, things may change, but let's take a look. So I'm looking here, and based upon the conforming loan limit right now, and I'm just going to use Vegas as an example, the conforming loan limit is $786,600 right now. Yeah. So what that means is every VA is eligible to go out and get a home upward of $786,000 using 100% financing. Now, that's a DTI question if they can afford that, but that's just beside the point. That's just for entitlement's sake. And then how second tier VA entitlements work is you take, because they currently have $526,000 out against their entitlements. So you would take the delta, the difference between the conforming loan limit and the current loan, or the loan balance when they purchase the home. So I'm looking at right now, they currently have for second tier entitlements with a 100% financing, eligibility of purchasing a home tomorrow for $260,000. Now, I agree, that's not a lot of money. And that's not a lot of money anywhere. I'm even down here in Phoenix, that would not do well. But the difference is that they can go out, say they found a home for $360,000 or $400,000. They only have to come up with 25% of simply the difference. So if you look at, say a $360,000 home, that is $100,000 more. They have to come up with $25,000. And that is where I'm able to cover the down payment on their next purchase. So they still can achieve that 100% financing because I'll cover the down payment and the closing costs basically of their next acquisition with cash to seller in the sale of this home. If they determined a home, let's say, or if we came up with a number of what kind of home they want to purchase. And so sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the brass tacks of how second tier entitlements work. And depending on where they're going and how soon they're going to buy, because conforming loan limits and entitlements go up every year on January 11th. And so we just went up to that 786, and so next year it'll likely teeter up over 800. And so meaning next year they have more buying power using their entitlements.
Okay, I see.
Does that make sense?
Right. This is making a lot more sense.
Okay.
I'm understanding. This is going to be, I'm able to articulate what this is for them.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about your offer. To my understanding, was it 485? 500?
Pull it up here. So it looks like we offered you two different things. So we gave you a cash offer, which I don't think is going to work, because our cash offer looks, on my end, what I'm seeing, Looks like our cash offer is below what they owe on their current mortgage.
Right, that was my concerning
So
factor.
that's not going to work.
That one, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be no go for them on cash.
Yep, agreed. And that's typically the case right now with interest rates because we're just getting beat up as investors, just like I'm sure you're seeing for people who are buying their homes. But that's where we've had to pivot a little bit toward creative options like seller finance, like if they own the home free and clear, doing some type of seller finance or seller carryback, or the alternative, which if you have a mortgage is known as a mirror wrap. And that's what this is. So for a mirror wrap, we would purchase it at your list price or at the list price. And so at that list price, we would pay your commission based off of that. We would put some cash in the seller's pocket and cover closing costs. And for us, the way we benefit is that whatever, because do you know what interest rate it is?
Of what his VA assumable?
Yeah, what's his interest rate? Is it 2.7? Is that what I'm seeing?
2.75, yeah.
Right. So that for me, that's what's attractive about this property is that, you know, being a 3.3, 2,800 square feet, 2.7% interest rate, I can rent this out as a midterm rental for 30 plus days, or and they have the pool and everything. So like, it's an attractive property from a cash flow standpoint. So for me, that's what the benefit is for me. Whereas if I went out and got a loan from a bank, I would have to go out and get $130,000 down, plus then the financing at 8.5% interest rate. My mortgage would be double what theirs is right now. And so there's no way for me to cash flow. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So what was your second offer then?
Yep.
To understanding, was it payment was it full asking?
Yeah, it's, I don't know what let me pull up Zillow here. I have it a different time.
615.
So I think what it was is because you guys have, your sellers have like $115,000 or $130,000 of equity. So I think, so our offer here shows that we're willing to give them just above like 12% down on their equity. So we'll give them $15,000 down on their equity, and we could probably go up to like 20K down, honestly. I'll just say that now. I'll bite my tongue later, but and then the remaining portion of equity, we would give them equal payments of, I think it shows here, $320 or $350 a month until that equity is paid off.
Okay, 300 is paid off. Okay, and then how does that? Okay, so would then you guys be putting 115 down?
No, so we would be covering whatever your commission is, or your the listing agent's commission is, whatever percentage of that is.
6%, we're splitting 3.
Yeah, so 3%, so that would be 18K, right? And then we'd probably put, another 15K for the down payment or 20K for the down payment to them, plus covering all the closing costs and then any HOA transfer fees, those freaking 1% transfer fees. The HOAs are killing me, but any of those things. And then that would be what I call on my end, our entry cost for us. And so that allows us, there's another benefit for us on the acquisition side of things, is that I can get in on the home for typically 10% of list price. So my all-in cash, including your commission, cash to seller, closing costs, HOA transfer fees, is usually around 10% of what your list price is. So roughly $60,000. Whereas in a traditional sale or a traditional acquisition, it would be, triple that. It'd be like $150,000 after closing costs and everything. So that's the benefit for me, is I can come in with a lower entry fee, better interest rate, and everything. And so the incentive for the seller is for me to put more cash in the seller's pocket or whatnot.
So how does the second offer help with their VA assumption and their, the credits that they take with them, that you are putting, because you're not taking over his loan, he's not acquiring the funds that he would need to then accumulate the total credit that he's able to use, right?
Well, so that's where I was asking about where he's going, when he's going to make his next purchase, or whatever it is, because it's really dependent upon that. Because if you told me he's buying a home tomorrow, then we would structure this a little bit differently with another document called a lease purchase agreement, because we're able to wipe this out from his debt to income ratio such that it won't have any issues for his next acquisition or his next purchase.
Yeah.
But and then in a year's time, this all wipes from his debt to income ratio under what's called, I don't want to fire hose you with information, but it's called the debts paid by others under Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But after 12 months of non-delinquent, meaning on time, no missed payments, a lender's required to wipe the debt from the income ratio if someone else is paying the mortgage, meaning like a renter or me.
That is such sexy verbiage. Like, wow, I did not know that.
Isn't that wild?
I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Okay. This is very, 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 this is a wonderful offer, honestly. I'm not seeing any downfalls to him other than being like, they're not going to assume my loan, but they sort of are.
Yeah, I call it an informal assumption, really, more than anything else. In a lot of ways, I mean, the only risk really for your seller in these is that the person buying it, so me, is just making sure that I'm a credible buyer and making sure that I'm going to continue to make the payments. If you just sell it this way to anyone and everyone, you can run into risks and issues where people just stop making payments. Because ultimately, exactly. So that's the issue. So you want to make sure that the person buying is a credible buyer. They own properties. They've done it once or twice. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, absolutely.
And I can take you through our whole operation too, and our transaction coordinator and everything to show you that we're not just a cubicle. So.
I really would appreciate that, and this has been a very informative conversation. I feel very confident in showing my seller this offer. I genuinely feel like this is going to be, this is going to make their week. At least they have something on the table.
Bingo. Yeah.
They have two things but none of them are in their bag. I guarantee that they're not happy with the offers that we're going to have to get. But this one is looking probable. And
well, then also too,
their offers, and there were investors that mishandled their money. So,
oh my gosh.
Yes, can you believe it? We had a full asking cash offer supposedly, and we were like 10 days from closing, and then they mishandled their funds, and we couldn't do anything.
Oh my goodness.
It was insane. I was like, why would you guys do that?
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah.
Right.
And I also offer too, like, feel free to put this on the paper too for them, is like, I'm willing to hop on a Zoom or hop on a 3-way call with them to go through exactly what we just talked about too, to reiterate, so you don't feel like you have to fire hose them with information. So, yeah. and again, I mean this wholeheartedly, is that if I'm a square peg for that round hole and it doesn't fit, at least I want to be a resource for you as an agent, but then also them as sellers, is to say, here are the risks, here are the pros, here are the cons and everything. And if you don't choose me, I'm unemotional to it in the sense of I'm not moving into the home, but I would love to be a resource for you guys if there's other offers on the table that are this structure, that I can provide resources as to how to protect yourself as a seller and whatnot. Because ultimately, like, what matters more in these transactions is really trust, more so than the nickels and dimes. And so that's what I want to reiterate to them.
I'm behind you 100%. I'm like, thank you so much for being able to articulate all that you bring to the table for them, and how even if don't go with you guys, how much value you bring to scenarios and situations as such. Because there is a lot of misinformation, especially with different loans, but with also assumptions and VA stuff, that there's so many people that aren't able to, I guess, inform us with this, and you've done so much.
Good.
You've done so much.
Well, good. And also, too, I want to cultivate a relationship with you, macro, beyond just this Weaver's Place, so that you and I can do 5 to 7 of these a year, if not more. And I can pay all, because if I'm paying your commissions, that means I'm buying real estate, and everyone's happy.
I'm so excited to work next to you, London. I genuinely feel like we're going to be able to be doing something big right here in this valley, and in many other valleys to come too.
Let's do it. That sounds great.
Let's do it, London. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get in touch with my sellers to see if I can get you guys on a Zoom call and what works best for them. I know that she wants to have communication with her husband present, so that stays after 5:30 my time.
Okay.
I'm in Vegas. Are we at the same time?
I think we're the same time.
Okay, perfect. What are we? I'm right now at 12:22.
Yeah, same.
Perfect. Okay, so then just keep out for my messages. I am doing right now post-licensing classes, so I don't get out of here until 8 today and tomorrow.
Woo! All right.
I know. But the good thing is that I'm finishing them early. I just got my license
Congratulations.
the day after Christmas, so I'm just knocking them all out.
I love it. Congratulations. Go get it. Keep working hard, and we'll connect. You have my number now, so you can text me, and let's see if we're a good fit.
For sure, Landon. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
We'll stay in touch. Bye.
Boom.